Let's go! We're breaking down the Florida Gator offense, and we're going to start off with, to me, their best player, Jaden Baugh, who destroyed LSU, put us to sleep with this long touchdown run that Sage Ryan pushed him into the end zone for. I'm still kind of salty about that, but whatever the case may be, you see Jaden Baugh right here. There weren't a whole lot of yards there, and he was the one that made it happen. And a lot like Caden Durham, he's only in year 2, so this is a true sophomore back. And you can see right here that the Gators are in pistol, right? And when we run pistol, we like to run outside zone. The Gators elect to run counter. They're running counter GY out of pistol, and this is an interesting way to do it. Okay, Lagway turns around. It's Ball's job to press and then bounce. Okay, 77 does a good job sealing his guy to the inside. Ball bounces it. Now we just need 84 to make a really good block, and boom. Look at all this space for Jaden Baugh to run. It's interesting because obviously LSU has better edge players in USF. Where Baugh is really good are on zone schemes. So we are all zone blocking here to the left. It is so critical versus these schemes, in particular versus Baugh, that your play side defensive linemen in particular don't over penetrate holes. Okay, so you can see right here the play side 3 tech, which in many instances will be a guy like Bernard Gooden, who does like to penetrate and go back there and make plays. Gooden, of course, is a way better player than this player, but you could see he takes himself out, and look at how that increases this hole, right? So this is really, really, really good stuff from Ball. Also, you could see if he would have been able to just hold serve just a little bit better, the backside thick defensive end was able to cross face on the right tackle. So this is partially intel from, I guess you could say PFF, but me just watching these games. 53 is probably the weakest link of this offensive line for Florida. Okay, they have a really good center. They have a good left tackle, but right tackle 53 is an issue, and you can see he almost caused this play to go for nothing. But here's the thing about Ball: he just breaks a lot of tackles. He is so hard to bring down. He picks up an extra 5 after that. The best play callers are oftentimes the best sequencer. So we're in pistol again, and you could see that a lot of these runs feature movement from the tight end. So you're really keying a run here on first down. South Florida got their first points to tie this game. Heavy play action fake, even with the backup running back, is very lethal. So you have this heavy play action fake. Look at all 3 of the backers just really cramming down hard. If you do that, that opens up so much space in the intermediate, and that is exactly what happens here. So DJ Lagway rolls out, and it doesn't get any more open than that, y'all. And this is where we talk about Florida's wide receiver room. Ventrell Brown, number 8, has been their most lethal weapon, but 3 Wilson is also a good player. And this is a play that we also ran. It was one of our better rushing plays on the day, and Steve Sarkisian was the one that really introduced this to the SEC. So it's showing motion to one side, motioning your tight end the same way, but then returning him back in the opposite direction. Okay, so the key thing about doing this is it helps out sealing the players to the play side. Okay, so 9 does a good job. I say a good job. It wasn't the best job, but he's obviously given up a lot. These USF ends are thicker players. This is a wide receiver blocking an end. So he was able to hold on for dear life, and now we just need some decent kick-out blocks right here to give Wilson, number 3, a chance to cut up through here. And, well, he's able to do just that, okay? Really, really, really good design, and you're able to pick up a first down. So Florida ran a trick play before this. Billy, as you know, can get a little crazy. It went for no yards. So we get to this 3rd and 4, and this is honestly just really good reading of the game right here from DJ Lagway. I always like, and Garrett has done a really good job of this, Jaden did as well, throwing away from the strength, right? The strength of this formation is to the left, right? There's 3 eligibles because it oftentimes gives you a one-on-one here to the bottom. especially if there is a slot corner blitz. This gets sorted out really well by the Florida offensive line, and this slant should be open all day, every day. Boom. Okay, really good stuff. Alrighty, so guess what Florida tries to do? Well, they run the play that we've had issues running, which is out of pistol, running outside zone. Now, I highly recommend you go listen to our podcast with Max Toscano, my favorite film analyst out there, and we break down the benefits of running outside zone away from the strength. So the tight end is to the right. We're running this to the weak side. This, honestly, numbers wise, can be a little strange considering you have an outside in to the outside shoulder of the tackle, and then you also have a backer to the outside shoulder of the tackle. So on a zone scheme, it can get a little strange. So what does Florida like to do? Well, they elect to have the play side receiver to come kick out this backer. This, to me, is just difficult. If I'm Jaden Baugh, am probably cutting this up in here, but there is a backer flying in right there. He decides to really stretch out this stretch handoff, and it goes nowhere. So there you go. It's important when you run the football, you have numbers and angles, and Florida had. There is one play, one, that every team in the SEC has run this past weekend for success. We did a lot of these jet sweep handoffs. Oklahoma did. Texas did first play of the game. Arkansas did first play of the game. And now, with this jet sweep handoff, we are getting the best receiver on this team, the most vicious with the football in his hands. And the reason why this play is so good is that even if the blocking isn't great, we have a faster player taking the football and running full speed, even past unblocked guys that are flat-footed. They have no chance. The other thing that Billy does a really good job of on this pitch is he pairs it with an outside zone action. So you could see these players really stepped hard in the direction of the fake zone run. And guess what? Look at all this space for 8 to run through. Now, the end of this is so critical because it honestly cost LSU this game. The tackling needs to be good. This is one heck of a play right here by 2. Just keeping him in front of him, because if not, this would have been a tutty. And guess what? They're finally able to bring him down. Florida, once again, left tackle, center. I think they like what they have there. We said right tackle's a weakness. I do think LSU can win these matchups versus their guards based on how their DTs are playing. And that's essentially what happens here, and they're able to force a field goal. Alrighty, so let's break down the first play of the third quarter. So once again, play action is something that Billy's going to use a lot of. And on this play action fake, you could see that the safety alignment changes. So the middle of the field safety crashes in, and we have a too high look on the backside. Okay? Now, Lagway has 2 different options he can actually throw this football to. The one that we prefer him to throw it to is number 8. Okay? All right? 3 is creating space with this deep vertical. And you could see right here that 8 does open up into this window. Okay, he's looking at it, and then you could see he makes a bit of a false step, right? You could see a small little giddy up right here, all right? Footwork isn't the best, and you could see he's not ready to rip this thing. And we want, from a Florida perspective, that is, we want this base to be ready to go to rip this dig, right? It's late. In college, you could get away with being late, but this is later than late, okay? This is insane. We need this ball to be completed. So guess what? He doesn't throw it. Then, I don't know what he's doing here. I really don't. All right, he stops, holds the ball, and that allows the backside pressure to eventually get home, and he ends up just flipping this ball to his running back for no gain. Alrighty, so you lose 2 yards on first down. Let's get to the 2nd and 12. So you get a little bit of a pre-snap motion right here. And now I am really thinking you're going to run the football, right? You bring 3 in, so I'm expecting some type of run or reverse. So this is what actually happens. It is a play action fake. And so now Lagway knows he has one-on-one. Once again, the play action fake draws these two linebackers, and all we need to do is just throw a strike on the comeback route. And look at when he's actually ripping this. This is really good anticipation right here. And guess what happens? Okay. Number 9 right here is not able to bring it down. Okay. Boom. All right. Is it low? Sure, but you got to have it. Alrighty, there's a new way you can support PHL by hitting the memberships button. Hit that join, and guess what? You get bonus film studies. We went deep on this rush design and how Florida really destroyed us with very similar concepts last year. Okay, so this is outside zone, out of pistol, running to the boundary to the right side. You can see Florida is overloading one side of the line of scrimmage, and this time Jaden Baugh does a really good job of bouncing this. He sees that it's dirty, and the blocks here are decent. Good job by 86 pinning this end to the inside. That's beautiful right there. And then 8 has a really good block on the corner. So Jaden Baugh is still a really, really, really solid running back, but please go hit that bonus, and it helps you out in a major way. Let's go. So this is some really good offense right here. 3rd and goal. And you play action right here. Okay. Is this a pure RPO? Looks like it. And he sees that guy blitzing off the edge. Lagway's arm angles can change based on what is given to him. And he throws a really nice touchdown here to 3, Eugene Wilson. Now, there's been a lot of DJ Lagway criticism, and if you are a PHL subscriber, you would have known that Lagway was way overvalued going into the season. I was shocked seeing how many quarterback lists or quarterback power rankings that had him number 1. But despite things being a little clunky, I'm not sure if it's entirely been his fault. I wasn't the biggest fan of some of the receivers that they brought in, but look at this throw. Look at this throw. 8 has actually been good for them. Got to make that play. Got to make that play. And I know on my channel with guests and my chat, there's been a big debate over, is it really a drop if you really got to extend your arms or if you got to do this or that? Honestly, I'm normally putting it on the receiver because it is a lot harder to find a quarterback who can make this throw than it is a receiver who could catch it. That is good enough to catch and seal the game. Instead, you have to punt, and that is that. So, what do I make of this Florida offense? They're actually not that bad. So, yeah, this offense is not that bad. You do see some issues, but overall 6.1 yards per play versus LIU and 5.5 versus South Florida. And a catch right here probably puts them up to about 5.6, 5.7 if you're hitting this. So, yeah, I mean, this was a game that I believe South Florida was the better team. It was close, but as a 17.5-point favorite, you would have thought Florida would have found a way. But it's also interesting in that there's still a lot of talent there. And this LSU defense, this probably is the best offense you have faced up to this point, knowing that Clemson has had their issues as well. So comment below, are you worried about this variation of the Florida Gator offense? If you want me to break down a few LIU plays, I will happily do that. And we'll talk to you soon. It is Power Hour LSU. Boom!